Welcome to TV3, to the show Meeting Interesting People. Today my guest, Lisa Marie Burnett, and we met about 2 years ago.
2 years ago,
yeah. And tell our viewers what happened, why we met.
I had decided that after graduating law school and taking the bar exam, which is in the summer of 2008, that I wanted to go all across Russia on the Trans-Siberian Railway. And all of my friends thought I was crazy and I couldn't find anybody to go with me. And I thought, if I'm going to do this by myself, it would not be such a bad idea to learn Russian. And so that's how I found you.
Right, and it was funny when we talked by phone, or by exchange the email, you thought that I'm looking for a teacher to learn Russian too.
Oh, yeah.
So, and finally we met. Of course, I was impressed that you already had a degree before your Harvard Law School. Yeah. You got a degree as a mathematician.
Yeah.
And then you got a degree in music history.
Yeah.
It was a master's degree.
Yeah.
And we know that law school consider as a PhD, but you decided that in future you maybe switch back to the music history.
Possibly.
And do another PhD in music history. So we studied 7 months, right?
Yeah, 7 months.
7 months together. And it was a big impression to me when you said that in Moscow. Tell us that story.
In Moscow, I got out of the subway and I wanted someone to take a picture of me in front of the Lenin Library. And so I approached this woman who also had a camera with her, so I knew she was a tourist too. And I asked her in Russian, would you mind taking a photo of me? And she said sure, she would. And she took my picture. And then when I came back to her to get my camera, she asked me, excuse me, do you know where Red Square is? In Russian. And I just started to laugh and I said, no, I'm from America, I don't know where it is.
So that was a kind of a compliment for me as well, I hope.
Yes.
Because I know the other story, since you wrote me a postcard in Russian, that some ladies in the train.
Yeah. I was in the train and I was trying to practice my conversation skills with my cabin mates who were all Russian. And they told me, oh, you know, you speak almost without an accent. Oh, who's your Russian teacher? And I said, you know, it's Yana, and she's from Russia and she lives in America. And they said, oh, we have very good Russian teachers. You know, she must be amazing.
Oh,
so,
thank you.
Yeah.
So we tell our viewers, welcome to study Russian if you would like to. And you know where to find me in TV3. So people will know how to connect with me. And I would say just you probably observe when you travel, and I know you travel a lot, that right now in the coming future, the Russian is becoming one of the international languages.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Because it's not, we know that China is doing very well economically, but not so many people eager to learn that language, which is, for me, it's very pretty. I mean, it's art itself, just calligraphy and characters. But I think if people will take more serious what foreign language they choose in future, I think they should take Russian. So, and now let's go talk about your trip.
Yeah, I brought some pictures here for everybody to see.
So let's just start with one picture from here, because this is my alma mater.
Oh, yes.
My university.
Yes, this is at Moscow State University. So I got a picture of me standing in front of it, and I got to walk around the grounds and everything. This was during the summer, so they weren't really students there or anything, but I was very impressed, very lovely.
Yeah,
campus.
so this is actually a few buildings similar like that. You probably remember that when you're visiting. And this one is a church.
Yes.
Russian Orthodox Church, and I can't say where it is exactly.
This is in Yekaterinburg, or Sverdlovsk.
Yes.
It's still called in the railway schedules. This church was built on the site where the last Tsar of Russia was assassinated with his family, and inside there's sort of a shrine and a museum for them. So I was excited that I got to visit it.
Yeah, just tell us how you were planning the trip, because first you arrived to Moscow.
To St. Petersburg.
Oh, St. Petersburg, sorry. Yeah,
I came to St. Petersburg first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You stayed there for 3 days.
Stayed there for about 3 days, and then I went to Moscow on the overnight train and stayed there for about 3 more days, and then to Yekaterinburg.
By train?
By train. This is all by train. Some of the trains were very long, 2 or 3 days. From Yekaterinburg, we went to...
Did you change the trains?
Yeah,
okay.
we changed trains, because if you wait 3 days, it's a different train.
I see. No, sometimes I thought maybe, like they have a sleeping car and you just in the train waiting for the tourists, but obviously it's not a good idea because it's one track.
Oh, no, yeah. Well, there was some people on there that were just going all the way across and without getting off, and so...
Yeah, and it's another interesting moment that you met this New Zealand couple.
Yes, I met this couple while we were both waiting for the train in Moscow at the Kazansky station, and they're from New Zealand, and they were doing the same thing that I was doing, and we had a very similar itinerary, and so we ended up touring around, and I'm having a really great time.
But tell us the main idea of those people that they said they want to go back home because they...
Yes. They had been living in London, both of them, and working. They were in their early 20s, and they had decided to go back home to New Zealand, but they wanted to do it what they called the fun way. So they had taken the train, and they had come all across Europe and to Moscow, and then they were going to go all the way across down to China and trek down through China and then go back to New Zealand that way, and take about 2 months.
Fantastic. By the way, I was visiting Moscow in June, and my aunt still using your trip as an illustration for some, I don't know, like a crazy ideas.
Yeah. Everybody thought it was crazy.
But she said, I'm telling my students all the time that one day we met a lady who decided to take an adventure trip through the Siberia by train. Yeah. So, and here we're in Siberia, right?
Yes, this is in the Russian Far East. So there are some people out there, they speak Russian and they have Russian names, but they're ethnically related to Mongolians, and some of them are still nomadic and they travel around and live in these yurts. And lately, with the economy not being so good, they've opened them up to tourists to try and earn a little bit of extra money. So my New Zealand friends and I actually went camping for a few days in these yurts out in the middle of nowhere, which was just really exciting and very interesting, not like anything I'd ever done before.
Yeah, this is right here. This is a picture of the same probably place? Or?
Yeah, similar. The woman in this picture, she's Russian, not ethnically, but she spoke Russian and everything. Her name was Marina, and she had just graduated from college, and she had opened up her grandmother's house and was cooking traditional Buryat food for tourists.
Yeah, like breakfast, bed and breakfast.
Yeah, like bed and breakfast to earn extra money. And the guy in this picture is actually my New Zealand friend. He's half Chinese and half New Zealand.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he did not speak any Russian or Chinese.
Oh, so you were as a translator
yes,
there?
I was very valuable. I was the only one who could read menus and read train schedules and stuff. So yeah, and he got to dress up in traditional Buryat clothes and take this picture. He was very proud, obviously, as you can tell.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
So, and I know that, this one is still there? Or?
This is in Beijing.
Oh, that's like China.
In Beijing.
Yeah. So we know that when you finished, so how long that was taken by train? 7 days? No, more than 7 days.
No, if you don't stop, if you don't get off, I think it's about 9 days to go all the way to Vladivostok.
Oh, okay. So, but yours trip was...
It took me about 4 weeks because I kept getting off the train to have adventures.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Okay, so this is one of the, you can talk... logs, cabins.
This is near Lake Baikal. I did a homestay, actually, not a hotel. So I stayed with an older lady in Russia, and she was opening up her house to travelers. And she had one of these traditional log cabins, and this is actually the sauna, the banya, that she had. They didn't have any running water or anything inside of the house, so this was how they showered and bathed, and we got to go inside it and use it. It was a great experience. I loved it. I thought, oh, I want one of these in my house, you know?
Yeah, someday.
Someday, yeah.
So this is a very interesting picture too, because this is kind of our, well, actually this type of sculpture I was seeing in Salem.
Oh yeah?
Not exactly, but the same material, and how people use all this old metal.
Metal things. So this was also in this small village near Lake Baikal in Siberia. We came upon this man who had filled his yard with sculptures of these things, and these are all just made out of old metal objects like parts of engines and parts of sewing machines and things like that. And he was so creative. So he had all these dwarfs, and he had all kinds of other
So it was for sale?
Sculptures.
You can buy it?
Yeah, for sale, and just for people to come by and look
enjoy.
At and enjoy and take pictures of. So it was pretty incredible.
Very nice. So it seems like we have about 10 more minutes, so we can look. Oh, that's the yurta.
Yurta, yeah,
that's how we look outside
of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so we have this nice chorus.
Yes, this was in Siberia. It's a couple of hours outside of Yekaterinburg. There was a small village that they told me that most of the younger people had moved away to Moscow and St. Petersburg to try and earn money. And so most of the village was getting older, and what they had done was something a little bit like Sturbridge Village here in Massachusetts. They were trying to open it up and be more like sort of a traditional Siberian village for travelers. So they had this museum that I went to, and I was the only tourist there. So I came, and these lovely older ladies, they sang and danced for me traditional songs, and they were just wonderful.
Sometimes people don't know the idea how you can travel, and I was participating in one lecture where the person who was giving a lecture in Lexington Public Library, he was talking about his experience traveling Central Asia and Beijing, and originally he stayed in China. So naturally people asking questions like, if we travel, how safe is that? And we discussed that too, remember?
Oh, yeah.
So what do you think?
You know, I had been very worried about that before I left, but actually I never really felt unsafe there at all. On the trains, everyone was very nice. There were a lot of old grandmotherly type ladies who were just wonderful to me.
So what do you recommend to our viewers, like for the food, you really like it there?
Oh yeah, the food was fantastic. Anyone who says Russian food isn't good has clearly never really experienced it. It was great.
Yeah, so we were actually, you and I, we were visiting some places around Boston, connect to Russian culture.
We went to Russian
church, Russian restaurant, what else? Oh, Russian bookstores, Russian stores. So we can tell our viewers that if they're interested, they can find that near Brookline, yes, and one of the Russian Orthodox Church in the Fenway near MFA Museum. So it's plenty places to find yourself close to the Russian culture if you really want to. So, and this one is in St. Petersburg.
Yes. This is a monument to Catherine the Great, and I liked this monument because I don't know if you can tell from the picture, but she's standing on top there, and then she has this circle of men that are all sort of kneeling below her and admiring her greatness.
Yeah, it's like the dream of every woman.
Yeah,
I see. Okay, well, it's good. And, well, here you are in China.
Yes, I went to Beijing. I had originally planned to fly back. You can't fly back directly from Vladivostok, so you have to transfer somewhere. I had originally planned to go to Seoul, but because the Beijing Olympics had just ended, the flights going to and from there were very much cheaper, and so I thought, well, I've never been to China, so I should just go. So I went and toured around for a couple of days, and I climbed all the way up to the top of the Great Wall, which was great.
It was a good experience. Yeah, we forgot to tell that wonderful story about the Baikal Lake, because you went to swim.
I went
and
swimming
it's connected to some story, right?
Yeah, well, there's a story that if you go swimming in Lake Baikal, depending on how far in you go, you can add years to your life. So I went all the way in, I put my head under, the water was icy cold, but I've added 25 years to my life,
okay.
supposedly, so it was worth it.
Right now, like 16, so...
All right. I'm not really 16, but yeah.
So, and this one is still in Siberia.
Yeah, this is in Yekaterinburg, which is known as kind of an industrial area, and so this is one of the earliest sort of factory machines that they had preserved. Of course, now it's outside and not in a factory.
So it's like a museum?
Yeah, there's a museum of these things.
So what you will tell our viewers, they really